We had a spring down there. Kind of water was a little bit sweet. And my mom would always send me down there when she wanted to make some lemonade. And it made the best lemonade there was.
We have buildings and we have history and we have all of that, but it's the people that make up the community. Whether it's the person that sits outside and waves at everybody as they drive downtown, or the person who's heavily involved in every activity.
There were so many political leaders that lived here. It was called Missouri's little capital. And it became a social mecca for Missouri during the 1870s.
I would say that Sweet Springs is a home that welcomes everybody.
The same people come in every day. The ones we don't know are like, oh, you're from the highway. Because everyone else, you call them by name.
People used to come into town like on a Friday and Saturday night to shop. These streets would be utterly packed. You couldn't find a parking spot. You had to get here before 5 o'clock. The farmers would come in and they had certain spots. Hell, if they had to get there at 3 o'clock, they would come in town because they wanted that spot. And you could not find a parking place in this town. That's what I wanted.
We drilled for oil in 1904 and hit the sulfur water. It tapped into that and shot the water like 40 feet up in the air. And they couldn't stop it. They capped it off. The town was established as Clayville. Reverend Yantis was able to buy the property and he turned it into a resort and built several cottages there. Governor Meredith Miles of Marmaduke's sons got together and purchased the property and built a huge hotel. The resort idea kind of fell out of fashion in Missouri. They secured permission from the government to open up Marmaduke Military Academy in the hotel building. So we became along the same lines as West Point, and that lasted until '96 when it burned. The shoe factory kept everybody employed during the Depression era. It was the major employer here. We were the first town in the county to have a railroad in 1869 and 70. We lost our railroad. The railroad tracks were pulled up years ago. The depot was moved out. But we've lost most of the old buildings. April 18th, 1882, a massive tornado system wiped out the town, and it had to be rebuilt then, and most of that's gone now.
I mean, when we moved to Sweet Springs, there were more lights being turned off than there were being turned on, and the restaurant that was here when we moved here closed 2 weeks after we got here, and it seemed like just more and more was shutting down. And so when we thought, man, what could we do to turn some lights on and give excitement?
You can see we're kind of starting to restore the outside of the buildings as much as we can, and we're just really excited to get them open and let other people enjoy them. Having a whole entire block fall down is a little bit heartbreaking. There was an individual, Bill Cook, who came back to Sweet Springs after leaving for a while, and he started putting his own money into things. Bill gets together this group, they buy all the buildings, they repair all the roof, and I said, I think we can do something kind of fun here. Let's start a cultivating community group where it's just gonna be the girls and I will invite the community to come down and to help. We had about 150 people down here that day. We cleaned out all the entire colonnade buildings, and you could definitely see that was one of the starting points of moving our community into a more positive direction. We do have a lot to offer here as well. You know, our cheese store is known far and wide. Our Sweet Springs Motorsports Complex, that brings in a lot of people on a consistent weekly basis. You can definitely tell when the races are going on in Sweet Springs.
I race every Saturday night. Sometimes we have big shows, so we race 3 nights a week, 2 nights a week. It just kind of depends, but every Saturday night we're racing out here. We get people from Kansas City all the time, Columbia. I mean, so they're coming here just to watch a race. And not only that, are they staying at the motel, they're going to visit the cheese store. They're going to visit the market. I mean, they're visiting our local businesses, and that helps our town out tremendously. I want our town to be like a family. Walk into any business that's in town and everybody just talks to you. You go up to the grocery store, you buy groceries, everybody's talking to you. But when you walk into Old School, they always greet you, they always ask you, how's your day been? Even if they don't know you one-on-one, they're still asking.
I think the future's bright. There's movement happening, and there's investment happening. And people literally are building right down the street, they're building across the street, they're, facelifts everywhere. It's exciting to see downtown coming back to life. That to me is a lot of hope in that.
I want to be able to continue on this legacy of what we have, and I want my kids to take pride in where they live. I love where I live, there's no doubt about that, but I want my kids to go, that's home, and I want it to remain their home.
It's a place you really want to come back to if you're from here.
This is something that I'm very, very, very passionate about. It's gonna happen. I can see the change in our community, and that is so important to see how positive things are going now.
I want people to know that Sweet Springs is like a home to anybody.